everybody, it's Leala.
And Beau.
Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time. Today, we are going to discuss Queendom Season 2, Episode 2 recap.
Yes.
Yes.
So Episode 3, technically. They had 0, 1, 2.
No.
I hate
2.
that.
And before we begin, 1, thank you for clicking on this video if you clicked on this video. 2, if you enjoy our discussion and you want to hear our recaps of every episode every Saturday as Queendom 2 continues, please subscribe to my channel. And 3, please leave us a comment. I forgot last time to ask everyone to leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you, so please talk to us in the comment section. We want to hear from you. Yep. If you agree with us or respectfully disagree, which is fair.
Or even just disagree and want to insult us if you want to know.
Mostly respectfully.
Most people are, all people are. Okay.
So for the lineup for today's discussion is as follows. We're going to talk about the final 4 performances of round 1.
Yes.
The live ranking, ranking of the round without our fan votes that are happening now.
Okay, right.
The fan voting process, the setup for round 2 is going to be so fun.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, we're going to talk about the Reddit discussion of the day and read some comments that were really good.
Yep. I'm going to try to stay calm the whole time.
You are?
Well, would you rather me not?
Okay. Beau is way more prepared than me today.
Yes.
So starting off with the performances, let's just go in big. The first performance of this episode, which was the third of the entire series of performances for round 1, was Kepler with What Da. They did a remixed version of it with a sort of race car theme.
I guess that's what you'd call it.
It was changed. And yeah, so what you want to begin? What did you think of the episode?
If I begin, I won't stop for 2 hours.
For context, we love Kepler.
Oh, we watched of course.
We watched Girls Planet religiously. Yes. We voted. We made recaps. We adore Kepler. I actually really like What Da. It's not one of my favorite songs ever, but I do like it.
Yeah, it was.
That's the backstory.
We love everybody in this show. Yeah, we really do.
We really do.
These are not. None of these groups are bad.
So what were your thoughts on What Da?
I've written down a few keys here, but basically, I kept thinking to myself, who's to blame for this hot mess? Kepler is not to blame.
No, of course not.
I think that I in my head, I actually thought, how dare, those words, how dare the management do this to Kepler? Now, this was not, I don't want that to make it sound like the performance was that bad. It wasn't. But it shows that the management is not listening either to the crowds of people, to the Kepler themselves. We know they're idols, and idols don't always have a say, which I think is, I'm not going to get into all that because it's often very...
And just to interject on that statement while we're in the middle of, on that point, as they show each performance, they show kind of what went into it, the planning. Kepler was the only group that had no creative input or no input whatsoever.
That they showed.
They didn't. They had no input whatsoever.
I agree.
Into their stage. Everyone else was at least involved in the process. Kepler was just well, let's get to practice.
Here's the thing.
Okay,
Here's the thing.
Continue.
It is one of the cruelest things, I think, to take a group, put them through GP or any type of elimination show, the emotions of that. And granted, most of them are all newbies, except for Eugen. And I still haven't heard Eugen be referenced about it. Hopefully later she'll get...
they haven't acknowledged that she's not a newbie.
She get her dues, yeah. But you take a group, you put them through GP99, you say, by the way, you have cancer, you'll be dead. It's like giving them no, I'm saying it's literally like there's a death. It's constantly hanging over your head. Then you put them to work on all these shows. You record a song in a day, you remix it. They don't have any creative input on that. You tell them what to sing. They get out of the booth. It's all fine. People will say this is part of being an idol, but I think it's the worst part about being an idol. It's the part of idol stuff I don't want anything to do with as a guy who is a live music person. But then, again, though, this could be editing, but you could see them, Kepler, discussing during the run-through or the costume, what do you call that? Or like a test... a sound check kind of. Diane, who I'm glad spoke up a lot, saying this does not seem right.
Yeah,
this looks weird. What are we doing here? I'm forgetting to do this. Up until the moment, now I don't know if it was the moment before they went live for this or before they did sound check, but some guy comes out choreographer, I guess, number 16, because obviously there's too many cooks in this kitchen. And he says, you know the part where you go, ha, you can't get it on time? They're like, yeah, forget that part. So the key with Kepler is that they had to remember the parts to forget. So if I give you 100 things to do,
so
hold on.
The context of that being, just let me interject just one little thing.
Excuse me, sorry.
That they practiced like in their practice room, and it looked to me like they didn't have any good stage direction or stage practice. So none of it was designed for the stage that it was on.
We'll talk about that.
Multiple layers and stairs and everything.
We'll talk about that.
So when they got to a stage that large, they were really having a hard time adapting to it. And I don't know why they didn't have the time to practice
So what irks me more about it, though, is them bragging to the camera, and this is not a slight against Kepler. Idols do the slot. It's 3:50 in the morning. We're still practicing. It's midnight. We're still practicing. You take a young group who's already nervous. You tell them to run. Okay, I have to go to the doctor once in a while as you get into your third decade or so, and you want to test your heart. So what do? They put you on a treadmill, and they make you run and run as hard as you can for like 5 minutes, and you do it. Then they literally stop you and say, lay down. Mm-hmm. And the first thing they tell you might pass out, you might vomit, you might this. I had none of that, luckily. And then they can see your heart in that still state really pounding, and you're not moving. And it shows them. It's good. You take a young girl group who's nervous. You give them 100 things to say, but you say, okay, you got to still do those 100 things, except for number 26, 32, and 91. Like they have to remember the ones to forget. So you put them in front of their seniors, and then you give them this insanely bad remix. And then the Indian Fairy, this is why I hate Indian Fairy sometimes, and you can see it in Cheyenne's face. They're putting him through a marathon, and then they set him down and say, stay still. That's the word. That's how you pass out. No, I'm not kidding. And then you don't give them enough food. You don't give them enough calories. Not gonna get it.
You're ranting.
Stop. I'm saying this is what made me so mad about this is Kepler's Wada Da was trying to show you what Kepler is. Kepler is a new group. They have the house bass, or whatever they're calling it now, jungle bass, whatever, mixed with this not cute really as much very bright energy. Like, what did you hear this whole time about Kepler? Their energy, their youthful energy. They did a stomp.
Their new
and then you put them out on the stage, and they are working hard. They're good dancers, live singing. It sound great. Yeso's in them are kicking up 10 feet in the sky. Hatala. They're working hard, but they're not giving them the creative. Before you go on stage, don't forget to not do that. It's like, I didn't see it all, of course. I didn't see everything behind the stages, but I think that the management and the choreographers, I don't know if they thought they were the it crowd, so everybody wanted to get in, and choreograph some part, but it felt absolutely ridiculous. Not only that, but when they come into the funnest part of the song, which is bright. Yeah. That's to build up a song. That's to remind you we're here to have a good time. They do this stop, start. It's like they kept saying, "Hey, we're gonna have fun, okay?" And you're like, "Okay, I'm listening. I'm ready for some fun. Let's go." Okay, well, hold on. Here comes the fun part. And you're like, "All right." And they go, "Here's the fun. Here's the fun." And you're like, "All right, cool." And they're like, and you're like, "Is this death metal or like industrial music?" I told Leela, I said, literally, this sounds like a Nine Inch Nails. Like, I said, all they need to do is bring in like a cow carcass on a hook, and Yeso be floating in a circle, like, and it's like,
you are ridiculous.
It drove me. The more I watched it, if I watch it again, I'm going to explode. Because this is, and I'm saying this all because I'm saying that this group is young, energetic, perky, fun, silly, sweet, young, impressionable. Where was that on the stage? Every group does not have to be, not everybody's a b-boy. Not everybody can do the robot, whatever. Hikaru's the best dancer. Let her do the dance break. Let Cheyenne do a singing break. Give me a break.
Another way to say it, what I think that you're feeling and what I'm feeling too, is that Kepler, because they're so new and because they only have Wadada to work with, they don't have an identity yet, and they don't have an identity that respects the members' strengths and styles.
Exactly.
They did a style that suits some members and not others.
They're shoehorned everybody else into
it. So they've shoehorned everyone into this like more powerful style, which suits some of the members really well, and other members it doesn't. And like, okay, for me, my criticisms are as this. One, the remix took a song that I like and made me dislike it, made me like it less. It sucked a lot of the energy out of the song.
It kept sucking it out.
There were parts that just sucked the life out of that song, which is just weird because it's such a lively song. Two, I think having Wadada and doing a race car theme is actually cute. Because I thought
clever.
It was
cute too, yeah.
That's appropriate.
But I didn't know it was a race car.
It's like Treasure Jig Jin.
I didn't know it was a race car.
But you don't understand that it's a race car theme until like halfway through the song.
They get a flag, and you're like,
because they get a tiny flag that has checkers, and you're like, oh, it's like a race car theme.
And she did a driving thing during dun dun, the death metal part, dun dun.
Right. And I think that like that theme is okay. The outfits are like okay with that theme, but if you're not getting the theme, then it's kind of lost on you and it doesn't look good. And it's the choreography. They did change it from the original, which is good. In some of the parts, I thought the changes from the original was an improvement.
Sure.
You hate the parts where it goes but I actually kind of like that where they made the O and they went like a little speedometer.
But the thing is
but listen, because I wouldn't want them to come out in a competition setting and do like the little thumb twirl. That's not an impressive dance move. I always thought the choreography for Wadada was weak, so they tried to make it better. Okay, I think some of the ways they tried to make it better didn't land for me. But their choreographers, their stage directors, the people in charge of making the creative direction for this, and they just need somebody who knows what they're doing, because this was not it.
I think there's, like I said, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. There is not a distinct voice. And they're not asking the girls.
Too, that the group that came from Mnet doesn't understand what works in Mnet in this show, because what works in this show is theatrical. It's big. It's tell a story. If you have a theme, lean into that theme hard.
But it is not. What I don't want to see is what happened in Queendom, where it got bigger and bigger and bigger.
But that's fun.
That's fine. But there is no substitute for somebody who gets up there yelling and looks like they're having a good time. They own the stage.
Yes.
But it's just a comfortable, fun time. If Kepler were to come out, this is what I was thinking. Not that it would be literally a live band backing thing, but that
would have been fun too.
Could you imagine? They're doing their stuff and they're allowing them just to kind of bounce around and maybe even sing with mics like Mamamoo to show they're actually singers. Mm-hmm. We know they can dance. Having a couple of them do a dance break while the others, maybe the others are literally joking. Go, and then on that part just explodes. Like
a big party on the stage, and then people come out.
You saw what Healing did. When she kicks back in on the chorus afterwards, and she's singing the harmonies, it sounds like a soaring, and it's the song about shaking your booty or whatever. It's a Charmin commercial, and it's like, you know what I mean? Right. Somehow she turned that song into an epic good time.
She has the experience in her team, and they understand how to make a performance on a show for a stage.
And it was so simple. It was so simple what she did.
This was not it for me.
They missed such a huge opportunity.
One comment that I thought was interesting. We'll get.
And again, it was not the girls. The girls were working to tell something to do, and they're actually their improvement. They just keep getting better, and their live vocals sound. Yeah,
some of them with as little experience as they have, like wow, respect, 100%.
Yes.
But one of the comments that I thought really kind of nailed it on the head, and that I think you see pretty clearly when you watch the full cam version. Not the edited version.
Yes, exactly.
The full stage version. You see how empty the whole stage looks.
Watch it compared to WJSN.
That it looks kind of just like a slightly different regular music show performance.
Which is
one of her comments. That was Yoram's comment about it. People are mad at her for making that comment. Please don't be mad at her.
She made a good point.
She don't be mad at her. It was constructive criticism.
It wasn't Kepler. It was towards the
direction.
The stage direction.
Yeah.
If you watch Cosmic Girls. They fill that stage
we'll get to that.
I know, but what I'm saying is just literally watch them side by side, make two windows and watch them, and watch the space just be filled with people. Mm-hmm. And they had just as many people as Kepler. I think they're the same number. I can't remember. Yeah. But the point is, it's not Kepler's problem. It was not their fault, but it was so disjointed, and it just irked me that I kept hearing the comments about no sleep and I don't have the strength. Yeah, because they didn't allow you to get rest and food and water. This is it makes me. This is not what I like about K-pop. It made me really mad. Now, granted, that could be some of the edits and stuff, and I don't mean to, but
they did in the backstory too. I just wanted to mention one other thing that their story of normally they show people like working on what the stage is going to be. They showed Kepler reacting to comments that were about them that were kind of negative.
Yeah, like
about
we're the Mnet babies and stuff.
They're the Mnet's daughters, and that's the only reason they're there. And they're like, no, we need to prove ourselves, and etc. So that was also
it's are you trying to edit your own group? Like, what are you doing? Now I know that they do this stuff and that's fine, but it's like, what are you doing? I mean,
that's their storyline.
Which is cute. Like, it's fine. Make somebody cry.
The favored kids. We're trying to prove ourselves. And, like, I respect that.
But who cares? I don't care if you're the favorite kid or not. If you get up there and you do a good performance. It's, again, not their performance. It is what they were dealing with. Yeah. Oh, don't forget. Don't do that part. I would have been like, what are you doing? I would have slugged somebody. I mean, imagine somebody did that heel. And she stopped her show before she went on because her heel was breaking. She knew, I'm not going to break my leg for this. Yeah. So she stopped it and walked up. It was a big drama thing. And she had a good time. It turned people on in an exciting way, not sex, but and while she wasn't doing, Hyun is this old school kind of K-pop thing. It was fun to hear that come back. When pop music was pop music, people are singing. The other groups are representing more modern K-pop, which is there's the flowery, pretty stuff, and Kepler is the new form. It's combining them both. They're doing pretty. They're not Eyes One. People need to quit that. They're not going to do Eyes One. They're trying to. So don't deny them their good parts, like their personalities. They're excited. They're hyping up the crowd. Just because you want to shoehorn them into like they're gonna do this robot so hard it's gonna quake the earth. It's like, okay, not everybody's Hikaru. It was really
they
dumb.
Better creative direction.
They weren't taking care of their girls, is what it was, and that pisses me off. These are kids, some of them, and it's like, I don't want to support that. Yeah. If Hewlin and all those other people wouldn't have taken that kind of maybe, I don't know, but it infuriates me. It makes me so angry.
It's gonna be okay.
I love Kepler. This is why it made other people mad too.
It's frustrating because you care so much about them.
Well, this was their chance to really show we can do it.
It's not over. It's not over.
No, they'll be fine. They
still have more rounds, and they have a comeback at the end where we get a new song. It's not the end for them, but we'll get to the rankings later. Maybe Mnet will snap themselves into,
The girls can do it. The girls are great.
And fire whoever the stage director was here. Hire that guy who choreographed Stacy's stuff, and like do something good, please.
You can't dance. You can't sing when you're dancing like a maniac.
But it's not that.
They could have done.
It needs to be a good dance.
I know, but over time,
dance.
K-pop has said you have to sing live, and we like valuable singing. That fell aside, so they said no, but we want you to dance hard, so we're going to just use more backing track stuff. So singing's out, but dancing is in. Well, sometimes we're going to need you to dance really hard, and it's like, okay, if you're going to do that, give them the time, space, food, sleep that they need. These are athletes; they have to perform. Yes. And it's like cheerleading. People don't treat it like athleticism. That's athletic activity.
Of course, it's athletic.
Somebody, as we'll see later, could get hurt on a stage like this. It's not worth it for a 17-year-old to break her ankle or something because they didn't tell her where to stand correctly. Yeah. These girls are very good. Give them what they need to be good.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts.
Okay.
That stupid death metal part.
Okay, are we ready to move on?
Yeah, anyway, that's the show. See you later.
Kepler.
I love Kepler. Good luck, Kepler. Very well. We're not voting for him.
Next was Brave Girls, who did a...
I thought WJSN was second.
No, they were last.
Oh, were they? Whatever. Brave
Girls, who did a remix of Chimat Baram and Roland.
They threw Roland in there, but...
Yeah.
The thing
we expected and we wanted and needed Roland. But I thought the choice to mix the two songs together was actually really good because Chimat Baram, the new one,
they had to give credit to Roland, of course.
And then to give a little bit of credit to Roland.
It's a good song. It's a good song.
It's what we wanted. Their performance, like there are different aspects to a performance. So that you have to think about it in like each of the different ones, and each section can be different. So like their vocals for this, stellar.
Yeah, no, they are.
Minyoung?
That's one of the notes.
Girl.
Sing.
Girl.
Let them
slay.
sing.
Girl slay. Like, my goodness. Slay.
Let them sing.
The choreography,
But Brave Girls is not known for their choreography
Right.
necessarily. They were kind of trying to do a bit of a Kingdom type style thing you were saying before.
Yeah.
But you said this, and she said this while we were watching it, or maybe while we were watching it for like the 8th time or whatever. But you said, and we were talking about they got popular because of the military thing. You said, why didn't they kind of do a not militaristic, but maybe had some military
Like a
aspect
little
to
nod
get a little nod
in
to
the
give.
styling.
That's where they started. And the reason people fell in love with them because they were giving something back to the military. It's a very they're very proud over there for a good reason. It's it's a big deal where they're at in the world.
It's like the country sweet. Like the theme and stage styling, I think, was the miss here for Brave Girls.
The outfits were completely a no.
They started at the beginning with like the drums, which I thought was really cool.
I thought so too.
That was
That's
awesome.
Fine, yeah.
I really wish they would have leaned into that and made it more like a military drum kind of thing, and then the party, and then stuff like
you could
that.
fall back on the military part to do a dance break, but then you could have the party. You're basically making people remember
the whole stage with different outfits and styling that were a little bit. Not this plastic stuff. Their outfits are a huge miss for me.
And by the way, the ladies are all gorgeous.
It's not them. It's the stylist.
That plastic has a way of making people think you're uncomfortable.
It's not flattering on anybody.
You're sticky. It's all sweaty.
It's not flattering on anybody. The outfits are a huge miss for me. It was just, and they don't suit those songs. Those songs are bright and fun. Those outfits are like sexy dark, and there's like a misalignment to their style and their actual styling. Doesn't make sense. The stage like graphics and stuff were kind of a miss. That's the prop design that they used for me was a miss.
The props were didn't work. They were fine.
They were a little bit distracting, like the neon poles.
I thought I see what they're doing with the neon. They're making a color thing, but
the stage direction and the way they went from one person to the next was good.
Yeah.
I liked the way they highlighted each person, and then they did their own part, and then they came to the camera and stuff. Yeah. The stage direction was good.
Yes.
It was like literally take the stage, change the outfit styling, make the theme like more of that like fun, cute homage to the military. They've done performances in those sorts of outfits before.
Here's a thought.
And I think it would have been more cohesive.
What Hyolyn did was much closer to what Brave Girls should have done than Brave Girls attempting to do whatever they were a little bit more. Well, we got to show this kind of cool part where we're it's like that's not your thing. Stuff. None of these groups are bad. I don't want them thinking, or their production crew, some guy sitting in the CEO office with his Iron Man toys everywhere, making these decisions while these ladies are busting their ass on stage. There's nothing wrong with being Brave Girls. It's you got your songs not because you were a viral hit. You were a viral hit, and then people realized you had good songs and you had a good stage presence. And you had a good voice. You're pretty. You're all this stuff. I don't want to hear them say another word about being like grandmas or something.
Yeah,
they're like 30 years old or whatever. It's like stop with that, because you will start building a narrative in people's heads and they will not vote for you. I know that sounds stupid, but people subconsciously will follow cues. Mnet knows this. I think they should have done something more cute instead of Cyberpunk 77, whatever this is. The outfits are just they don't look comfortable. They look great, of course. Please don't think we're saying that.
It's not the girls and it's the outfits.
They just don't match. At one time, the way the plastic moves, it looks like she's wearing a diaper.
It's just not flattering. It's not flattering.
It just doesn't work for the theme. And I thought, but yeah, like Leela said, I was like, had a light bulb moment when you said that. Why didn't they do like not even like coming out and saluting and cheesy, but just maybe they had a hat. Maybe they had a couple backup dancers acting like the military guys.
I think the reason they didn't do that is because they've done that before, kind of already.
Right,
so
but
they
it
didn't
could
want
have
to do
been
something they've done before. I think they could have done that, but elevated it and had a more cohesive theme. One of the things that's the most important thing that you do on these shows, I think, is have a theme and having a stage show. This is a Broadway performance, everyone. It has a story.
Yes.
Like, make it fun. But aside from that, like, there was cute moments at the end where they were like dancing around without their mics.
They forgot to get their mics.
And the backup dancers had to like hand it back to them.
That's what you want.
She was like trying to get her attention, and she's like, "Please take this back." That stuff was really
the perfect example of what I'm talking about is Hyolyn herself.
Really cute.
She Clean sweeps it, 10,000 points. You thought she was really good and really. Everybody thought she was really good, if not the best.
Yeah.
She did nothing spectacular as far as she had some leaves, she had some images, she had some backup dancers.
That's what good design is. It's not about more stuff.
Exactly.
It's about smart. It's not about more. It's about.
She didn't
good
go,
design.
man. I've got to take this song that I sang with 3 other people and do a remix or do. I got to swing it on a trapeze or no. She just said, you know what? I need to have a good time. I need to show people that live performance still turns people on. Yeah. And she did. Mamamoo did the same thing. They're not doing break dances and the worm and stuff. They're singing and they do. And Brave Girls is a similar thing. They need to keep the dancing simple. I mean, unless they're good dancers, of course. Especially what's her name? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name. She's my favorite. She's my bias, and I'm forgetting her name. They're a good group. But when people see you and hear you, they feel good. This felt like you were trying to make them feel something else. Maybe than good.
I respect that they tried this style because this is the style that people think they have to do on this show.
Yeah.
I'm glad they tried it. Let's not do it again.
Get it out of the way.
Let's not do it again.
And the thing is that's a good point with all these groups. I'm so happy when they get past their own songs because they're tired. You know, if they want to do something fresh.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brave Girls were great, but
the last of the actual show,
other than LOONA.
LOONA was afterwards.
Okay.
They performed after because they didn't perform in the live show. Was WJSN with the song "As You Wish."
Best performance.
When we watch the Queendom stuff, we watch the performances on their own first, and then we watch the actual episode like 2 days later.
Yeah, I hate how they do that.
So we don't see the stuff that goes on in the background and like the story of what happened. We see the performance on its own first.
Right.
So we had no idea the struggle that these girls were going through, both in the preparation for this performance and the execution for this performance. Because I think if you aren't like honed in on it, you wouldn't have noticed the small things that went wrong with the performance because it was just so good.
There's not really anything that went wrong with the performance, but a single thing.
But I don't know their song. We've talked about how we don't know their songs as well as other groups, but
I know that song.
I'm getting to know them more, and
Wish.
I love them so much. All of their personalities, everything that they were putting into this, like I love them.
When did they come out? 2016.
So
they debuted. Same year as Brave Girls, but we don't hear anybody saying Cosmic Girls, WJSN. You know, the grandmas or the blah blah. You know, they're doing that flowery pretty style. You know, they lean into what they are. They did what they do, and they did it really well. And the stage production took advantage.
Beautiful.
It looked like the comments from one of the other idols. I think it was somebody from Kepler or something. It's like this is like the ending of a concert. It was the ending
of a concert.
They rose up as the backup dancers took the former room they were in, the former area down below. But you're going. You kind of notice after a second. Wait a second. I didn't even notice the backup dancers because my eyes are still. That's how it's supposed to work. The backup dancers are taking that space. So it doesn't seem empty, and you're still enthralled by the group. It was
beautifully designed, beautifully choreographed. Like, the outfits, everything was on point for the style that they're doing.
For that style.
Like, beautiful,
There's
pretty
nothing wrong with these
storytelling.
styles.
Like, just the camera work was on point. There was never... The way they did the camera work, there was never these awkward parts where you're just watching someone go down a stair. It was designed so that all that was hidden and the members would move throughout the space, and it was beautifully cohesive.
They had the issue with the thing. They turned it an hour. If you didn't see it, if you haven't seen it, you should. Why you listen to us? But anyway, go watch it first. They had an hourglass. They turned it over. It fell out and got sand. And there, if you watch young Exie. No, she's not the one who slips on it, was she? Dayoung starts to slip on it, and you're an idol. You can't slip. You're going to mess up the show, but also you're going to mess up your leg.
Yeah.
And she literally, there is, any of you out there know Baby Metal, I've talked about this before, but there's a couple funny moments with Sue Metal, the lead singer. She's playing death metal, literally in front of a bunch of death metal fans, and occasionally something gets thrown on the stage. And I've seen her more than once just give it the slightest glance and then kick it the hell off the stage. Get this off my stage. She doesn't cry and scream, who threw that beer or whatever. I've seen her throw stuff back. You know, she is there to own that stage. I was hoping that Exie or somebody booted the hell, just kicked it into the crowd. Who cares? to show this is our stage. But they were so worked up out, they got off the stage and they started crying. Now, granted, it was probably an emotional release.
It was definitely an emotional.
But
release
they were convinced they
week.
were convinced it was horrible. This is what's so funny about performance.
We watched it the first time, like in the preview leading up to this. We had mentioned that Sola in the preview is crying really hard, and I was like, so I went into this, sat down to watch the performance the first time, thinking, oh no. What's going to happen? Is she going to fall? Is she going to hit a note wrong? What's going to happen?
We thought sour note.
I was like sitting there like, oh my gosh, what's wrong, Sola? And I watched the whole thing and I was like, that was perfect. Why was she upset? I don't understand. Because you don't know until you watch the, like, after stuff. They had to practice down one member because she had COVID.
Who had to practice by herself.
So she had to practice alone in quarantine, away from her group. She only got to practice with the full group in the final practices where they were getting ready for the stage. The poor girl had to learn everything on her own.
And credit to Exie and the other members who filmed stuff.
So hard,
and the backup dancers who filmed it for her. They were the backup dancers.
To make sure that she could be included and that she knew what to do. They helped coach her.
That's called communication.
It was like so sweet, and that she worked so hard. And also coming off of COVID, you're sick, everyone. You're actually sick. And she just barely got better and then came back into the stage. Anyway, and then came on.
You can have fatigue issues and everything.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And
JJ was just talking about it.
She did like great. And when they got off the stage, there was just the things that went wrong was only that prop.
Yeah, but what I think they thought
what
is that
they
were distracted by it and they were looked down, and so they thought I wasn't performing perfectly. And maybe there was maybe they did have some slight. If you knew what the dance was exactly, maybe there was a change or something or somebody. But that's the funny thing about, as a guy who's played in bands on stages and stuff. I haven't been 2,500 people was like the largest, whatever. But you kind of black out. You just kind of play and you get off the stage and you go, man, I have no. How did it sound? I couldn't hear.
That's what she said. She's like, I don't remember anything that just happened.
But it was to me it was the best performance.
It was so.
It barely.
Good.
Now Helen and them are. There's two different styles, but they both gave you a present. Here's our present. We could stop being on the show now, and we've told you what we are, what we're how what we can sing or do or dance.
The vocals sounded amazing.
Well, her high notes were amazing.
Young Jung, what?
Yeah, I forget her name.
Jung?
See, I still have to learn them.
We don't know the main vocalist. Wow, amazing.
She hit a nice with a little crackle in there.
Your facial expressions, dance, amazing,
and good voice too. Good voice.
Exie, amazing.
I like Exie's style.
They're so good. And this was beautifully designed and executed.
Here's the...
And they got off the stage and immediately, I'm not sure, like, who started the dominoes of everyone crying? I think
it was the one who was sick, wasn't it?
Sick. What's her name?
She probably just felt horrible.
What's her name? Unso.
Yeah.
Got off the stage and she just started crying a little bit because she probably was still not really feeling good.
Yeah, so I even wrote that down.
And then it just domino affected onto everyone.
I also have down there the backup dancers. They're all good in this show. They often don't get credit. The groups try to give them credit, of course, but they had that cool thing where they like breathed with her. You didn't. I thought this was everybody else is the backup dancers dressed in a different color. I believe so. But they were pure white like WJSN, and somehow you still saw the separation, but it felt cohesive. Brilliant. I wish I could see more on who does the creative, because they were involved with the process. You could tell, unlike Kepler as much from what we saw, but they also have that experience of working with each other and looking out for each other. There's a moment when they're floating up the top, like the end of the concert, like at the end of a Broadway show, and two of them are holding hands.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Unso and somebody else.
It was Unso.
Maybe they probably could tell she was upset. And it was so sweet. And then they had them, well, do we keep holding hands? And they kind of awkwardly. It was just really cute that they had these little human moments. The hourglass, to me, was fine because it shows you still performed. It sucks. We wanted to see it, but we got the idea. It was really neat.
Yeah.
And it gave them a humanness as well.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that... I think that they probably weren't getting a lot of credit for a long time because they do it do really well, but they've never had necessarily a hit.
That one
But a big hit could really... Look at Brave Girls. They're having to live down their hit all the time. So, I am, though, curious what them, LOONA, and the bigger groups are going to do with other stuff. It might be hard for them to get out of this beautiful, ethereal, but I have a feeling they can do it.
Your
so,
style, Lena?
yeah, we'll see.
Anything else on that?
No, fantastic. They're my number one.
LOONA didn't perform on that day. They performed afterwards. They got a live stage. The stage was a little different, a little smaller than the one used
I think it was. It was different, divided differently.
Not too different, but it was still interesting. So we saw LOONA's performance. I'm not the biggest fan of this song.
I didn't like it at first.
The first time I watched it, and I'm not a big Paint the Town. That's not my favorite song from them.
No,
but I thought the remix actually elevates it. Unlike with Wadada, the remix made Paint the Town better.
I think so.
Then, like with Wadada, I thought the remix made it worse. And going with the traditional Korean style and the elements is like a cheat code to making me love something.
Yeah.
Like beautiful.
Black and red is always amazing.
Like selection of styling, the stage direction, beautiful. Like the way they did the song, their choreography. My first impression when I walked away from watching this for the first time was, oh, that was a Kingdom stage.
Yeah,
like,
that's what you said.
I could have watched one of
That's a Kingdom thing. They did a flip and everything.
She did a backflip and everything. Yeah. Like this was a Kingdom stage, not a Queendom stage.
They used a different,
which is awesome. Yeah. I'm glad they bring that type of energy, that theatrical energy that we all love.
Well, LOONA is known for their large group in sync. Choreography. They're very good at that. They don't do that as much, like like they're trying to fight somebody, but they'll do these lovely little flourishes and they match it all. It's like their timing is impeccable. They have good singers and stuff, but they're mostly known, I think, for their performances, like their dance and stuff. This suited them fine. I loved it. I did not like it at first. I thought they all looked really tired, and it's because that camera is up in their face and you get no feed from the rest of the group. So when you pull back and you watch the full thing, you can see, you get the vibe.
Up close camera, I don't think it does the performance as much justice as the bigger.
Well, and it's possible
camera.
that they might have been a little tired. I mean,
and again, they were all coming off of COVID.
Right, but
they were just sick.
The saddest part is, they missed it. Do I think now that they should automatically be sixth because they missed all the voting? I thought I don't know.
There's nothing else you can.
There's nothing else you can really do. But if they had done that in the show, they would have been third or fourth or second.
They would have been ranked very high. Well, if they had been there on that day, they would have been ranked very high.
They brought what they were going to bring. They did it well, and now you go, oh, okay. In a way, Brave Girls, they got saved because of LOONA. LOONA missing. LOONA's automatically sixth, so Brave Girls is not on the bottom. If LOONA gets on the bottom again, they get kicked out, which I don't think is going to happen.
No,
but this buys Brave Girls more time because I want to see Brave Girls do something more. Yeah. I can't. I hope they do like a vocal song and stuff. So LOONA, I think it all worked out in the end.
They had a lot of clever. Their usage of props was clever and not distracting, which was really good. It wasn't
overly done.
The hair, they had chopsticks in the hair. The fans love it.
The fans are always good.
That sort of thing. Like props were subtle but well integrated. The choreography was good. They had good dance break parts. It was very powerful, but man, it must be hard.
And this is another example of with a big group like this. Now, granted, Kepler's smaller, but they're still larger. When you fill up that space, when you have the all cam, the huge cam, it feels like these guys felt like a Broadway show. WJSN did. Even Hyuna, she filled it up with dancers, but she made it feel like
and Kepler were the only
Vegas show, and they didn't use the space.
Dancers in their dance part, they had some holding
at the top,
the flags, but they didn't.
And I bet you anything they go and look at that and either want to fill the space or do something where they're not just grouped up together. But live and learn. Right. Everybody did really well. I'm happy to see LOONA. I thought they were just going to submit some little thing like them in the studio, like they were stuck and they couldn't use props and stuff. But I'm so glad
they did the whole thing
because they're good. LOONA's not
really good.
A bad. They're very good.
It was good. They did their internal votes where they had to vote for a group that did better than you, which was optional to vote for someone who did better, and required to pick someone who did worse than you. I think this was all very silly and there for drama. It wasn't on Queendom or Road to Kingdom. They made the girls do this to each other, but they didn't make the boys do this to one another.
And I asked this question. We'll read it at the end. I have 5 comments. There was 60-something comments, so I'm not going to read them all, but everybody had good different points of view on it. The problem with this is what has now happened to Brave Girls twice. The worst thing in this show is not to get... I mean, I guess it's always worse to get kicked off or whatever. It's to get completely ignored.
Yeah.
Just ignored.
The choices
nobody even thought that you were a threat, or nobody thought you were that great, or they thought they were way better than you, or who knows.
Were a bit baffling. Only Kepler chose to vote for someone above them. They chose Chillin. Everyone else didn't vote for anyone above them because strategically that puts you at a disadvantage, so obviously you wouldn't. And then the other groups picked the person below them that I have on screen here.
Yeah.
I'm surprised so many groups picked VVs. I don't think it was a result of them actually feeling like their performance wasn't good. I really feel like it was strategic to knock them down.
Yeah, but in the end, they ended up third, so it didn't work. And yeah, I think that there is some strategy to what the girls they think they're doing. The ladies, I'm sorry, but I don't think that it's gonna like. I asked you this too, like, why would they do this? What's it called? You know, who's your enemy here person? What do they call it? Rival thing. It's got to come into play later like that. By the way, the rival you picked is going to be blah, blah, blah. You know, because it wouldn't count because Brave Girls didn't get picked. So there was a flaw in the system. But I'm wondering if there's something there, if it was just for drama, I guess. But I asked it on Reddit because it granted they did it in the first Queendom. They didn't do it in Road to Kingdom and Kingdom. It was just a touchy-feely, happy-go time. Everybody loved everybody in Kingdom. But they do this, and it does feel, I'm not going to get into a rant, it does feel like a sexist thing. Like, let's get a cat fight going. You know, girls will fight. And yet, they just keep being funny about it.
But, the positive thing that comes from something like this, I think it's dumb, but whatever. Literally, as fans, we have to be the bigger person and not turn it into drama and not squabble with the other fandoms because someone said that. Like, come on, people, don't fall into their silliness. The best part is that WJSN. Wait.
It was WJSN and
VV's
and WJSN.
Voting down WJSN. They are friends.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Unso and Umbi.
No, Simbi. Yeah,
her name's Umbi.
Yeah.
Umbi is easier to say. They've been friends since like high school.
Oh, they were giving each other a hard time.
So she voted her down, and Unso gets up, and Umbi gets up to like, oh, I'm gonna hug you. I'm sorry, and she like grabs her and is like, out back. Out back.
Either it was
and she just like drags her,
and then she points.
It was so.
To me, it wasn't let's fight. It was. You're in trouble. Like, go here, go. You're gonna sit outside while we're all in here talking. Let the adults talk. You know, it's just a cute
funny
moment. And she even dropped her towel. She's like, "I'm done." and then X is like, "All right, come back now." And I don't know if that's when she turned back, but and Simbi was like, "Save me, save me." And it's like,
it was so funny.
It was like it's kind of like when you play that game with your friends. You know,
they were like, "Imnet, you want this?"
But it's also like you do have to play this game if they say the game is there. But the problem with this game of rivals and who's worse and stuff is that when everybody's doing it, the hosts even, it feels like the doctor getting ready to...
Nobody wants to say anything negative because it's not the culture of their industry.
It's like him going, you know, I'm going to have to do this test. It's going to be very uncomfortable. And you don't want to hear the guy lie, but nobody wants to hear it. It's like, this is the thing. You're not a doctor. You're an entertainment show. You don't have to do this.
It goes against the nature of the industry and that you should be respectful to your peers.
Well, that's
having them try and do that, like, it's all very...
you can't. Anyway, K-pop has got a lot of internal questions to answer. You can't have drama and also have politeness and have this. Do you want somebody to get in a punching fight? Do you want to? It's like, come on, just
no.
There's nothing. Now, granted, I'll read the comments, and there were some good comments for the rival system and stuff, and I agree with it. I thought it was fine.
So now we can move on to the actual final ranking. This was the actual ranking based off of their votes for each other, the live audience vote. The live special audience vote, which we didn't mention last time, included Purple Kiss. We did get to see Purple Kiss on Queendom in the audience.
I said that on the Purple Kiss subreddit.
In the audience. And a group of people online who watched the performances live. So like the air quotes global. This is how the ranking ended up based upon that. With Hyolyn in first. Well deserved. She killed. Like, well-deserved in my opinion. WJSN second, VV's third, Kepler, Brave Girls, and then LOONA, just by nature of not getting any of these points, was in last. So
I mean, it's kind of weird they had a similar thing on the first season with Idol not being able to show up. Right. They were late, so they voted how to penalize them. You have to, but it's kind of like everybody's like, but in this case, you literally physically couldn't go back in time.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's fine. I think they'll be good in the end. LOONA is a powerful group.
And so that was the actual ranking. These are our rankings through our opinions. I put Hyolan first and WJSN second. Loona, if they were there, I think they would have ended up this high as the third. VV's, Brave Girls, and then Kepler at the last.
Which we talked about.
Not because of them.
No.
Because of the stage direction, the styling, and the remix of the song. Brave Girls, I only ranked them higher because their live singing was just really top notch.
Yeah, and Kepler sang live too. It sounded good.
But it sounded more live. And they had small parts where they were just like having fun with the audience and kind of hyping everybody up. So I give it to Brave Girls over Kepler just for that sole reason.
I gave Kepler just a notch above because the assignment was to kind of do your song, and Kepler did at least do, as much as I hated it, as much as I despised it, they did do something they were trying to, but they need to learn this lesson, remixing or whatever. That's not all there is to making a different version of a song. You could have done a party version, you could have done a sad version, anything. And I think that they just kind of listened to the assignment a bit more. But Brave Girls are not the same type of performers. By the way, these differences, other than I think Cosmic Girls, Hill, and VV's, up in the top three, it really doesn't. Really, only the top two. The rest of them are just.
They're tiny degrees, right. Tiny degrees of difference.
But you do take this as much as I love VV's, and I think they'll probably end up winning the thing. There was just a leap above with Hyolan and Cosmic Girls where they made it sound like feel and look like a concert. Mm-hmm. But everybody did really well. Agree. And I hope that Kepler, being the young ones and being the kids, especially like Yeso and Mashiro, who's very sensitive, I'm sure there's that cute moment with Hyolan saying, "Go have fun." There's a fun crowd. It's just so sweet. Like, be nice to these girls.
It was their first performance in front of a crowd. The fact that they did is, as good as they could.
Keep it going. You'll be fine.
There's a fan voting element that will be taken into consideration, I think, at the very end of the show.
Yeah,
maybe?
I don't know. I always
the website is mnet.world. You need to sign up for an account. Definitely do so. The round one fans' choice is between April 8th and April 11th. You can pick two performances. I picked Hyolan and WJSN. You picked
WJSN and VV's.
Okay.
The voting to me, it's so hard sometimes, but I know for a fact Cosmic Girls. Yeah. I'm looking at them more. So.
Round two.
It's so good on this go.
The most exciting part, well, not even the most exciting. Everything from here on out is the most exciting. The round two is going to be cover songs. The way they picked who you do the cover of is the ranking from the last round. The person got to choose going down the list, and you couldn't refuse. So Hyolan got to choose first, and she chose Loona, which I think is a very smart and interesting choice. I wonder what song she's going to do. Please Still Butterfly. Please Still Butterfly.
She could do all sorts
Please
of
Still
stuff.
Butterfly.
They have a lot of. The good thing about Loona is they have a variety of stuff.
And for Loona picking Hyolan, I don't know. I think they might end up doing a Sistar song.
Probably.
We saw a tiny clip of the performance, and it looked very Broadway stage play.
Yeah,
they had different
50s,
costumes.
It was a 50s diner
like
thing.
50s diner and businessman. And so they were doing, I don't know what. Then it was WJSN who picked VV's. Right?
Yes.
And which is a good choice. I think their styles of songs, you could pick any of their songs from each other and they could do them well. Only thing being that it might not be very surprising, so it might not.
They'll have to do a different version or something, yeah.
And then it left Brave Girls and Kepler with each other, which I think is actually great.
I think it's great too, but again with Brave Girls, they were ignored. They weren't picked for bad or good. It sucks. Kepler doesn't have songs, so there's a reason. But
what I want
now, granted, Brave Girls don't have the massive. Well, they have a good discography, but it's not massive. But still,
I think it's actually a match made in heaven.
I think it'll be great. I think it'll be great.
I want Brave Girls, please, just do Mask.
Well, they have
Please
to.
do Mask.
They could do See the Light, but they'd have to
Please do Mask. Please don't do Wa Da Da. Please do Mask. And kill it. You can't see that I'm praying right now. I'm praying right now. Please, Brave Girls, do Mask.
Maybe a bit more sultry,
and
like
they could
sexy.
make it so cool.
It's a little slower.
They can make it so cool.
Because they're adults,
Kepler, just doing a fun Brave Girls song with a fun, bright, lively, summer fun energy. That's what we need. Everyone, that's what we need. So I think they're
something where they look like they're having a good time and not being told to do 42 things at once.
Yeah. I think it's actually a match made in heaven.
I think it'll work. I think it'll be perfect. I would have liked to see VV's and Cosmic Girls maybe not cover each other, that might be a little bit, but either way, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
As long as we get more Cindy.
She's so good. And this is our Reddit discussion. Beau posted a post on Reddit about if it was fair to have the rivals discussion.
Yes.
So you wanted to read some comments.
Instead of us having a discussion, because we'll go on for 2 hours, I'm just going to read 5 of my favorite, but there was a ton of good comments.
Okay.
There was no garbage on there at all, but a lot of stuff.
Really?
Everybody had good points. The worst was somebody saying, not the worst, but the most to the point was somebody saying it's not touchy-feely. It's not always rainbows and, that saying. And that's fine, though. I agree. But, okay, so this first one was from Anti-Pioneer. Your screen names, by the way, I'm going to read them as I see them. And they say it's a bit of a double-edged sword, meaning picking, who's worse than you, who's better, and having a rival. More the picking. The rival wasn't as much as in contention. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, since it's also a great way for the groups to show tact and bring up what they value in performance. I like that we get extra insight into how idols view their craft. I agree. And get to learn a little bit more about their character, i.e., I really felt hard for Soyeon in season 1 from Idol because she is such serious seeming.
Yeah, she has
boss
and is a director.
Who was fierce and competitive, but still broke into tears after going through the self-evaluations, showing that she's filled with compassion too. I completely agree.
It's true.
You want to be surprised by people. I mean, she has emotions, but it was nice.
Good point.
User Kiyakit4, Kiyakit4, sorry about that. They say, although I wish they were required to say someone better as well, because I guess they didn't have to.
Right.
Overall, I don't mind it. I think it's a good way to have them be honest about the performance and provide critiques. Also, saying someone is worse than you is pretty ambiguous, in my opinion. It's not saying they were worst overall, but if Group A thinks that they were first, then they could name a group that they thought was second and still be telling the truth.
Yep.
It's a technicality, but yeah, I agree.
Well said.
User Zebest, Zebest, Zebest. Mnet trying to make a survival show, and all people want to see is idols being friends and cute with each other. Queendom 1, they tried the same thing, but idols were too wholesome, which I agree. So we ended up with something awesome. I feel like this season is going to be like that, though, since physical contact and stuff is very limited, and the participants are seemingly hungrier than compared to Queendom 1. I can see that. I think they'll still have physical. I think we're past. As long as COVID stays away.
They need to be in their bubbles.
I'm very scared, but I don't want anybody to get hurt or sick.
Nobody else gets sick, please.
But I think they might be able to do it. I would like to see, because the hanging out physically, just near each other, is really fun.
The cover round is always what I look forward to, but all the main vocals getting together and doing a song together round is also
or just getting that one-on-one jokey time, with Bomb and from Oh My Girl was so cute. I like this username Extra Large Iced Coffee says it's so unfair. The difference between Kingdom and Queendom is mind-boggling to me, honestly. Kingdom felt so fun and pure. Even the competitive aspects were overpowered by all the group's friendships. In Queendom, they're blatantly downplaying a lot of the pure friendship elements to pit women against each other and create petty drama. It's really unfortunate. I haven't seen Queendom 1, but I watched Kingdom and I was hoping Queendom 2 would be like that. Feels like they want to make it seem like the girls can't help but fight and be catty, that word, which I agree with, towards another. I agree. I wasn't trying to say, is it sexist and stuff? That's getting a whole other thing because K-pop.
It's steeped in that, but I think the idols are just so good
you can't being fake if you're friendly with somebody. Yeah.
That they know how to do it in a fun way. Umbi knows how to be funny and to do it in a sassy way.
And we've said this.
And her sass was on full display.
Yes, and we said this, and I said that I'll say this till the day I die. If they would just get together without the cameras around or some kind of little and create a drama, and then the brave girl said what, and then go over there. You don't like my cheesecake, and then and she said, well, my hamsters. You think it's funny? Just some silly over the top. I'm an alien from another planet, whatever, and just go with it and be like, there you go, Mnet, have fun. Lilac Dawn, which I like that name. I don't mind that they had to choose who did worse. What I don't like is I'm sorry, did I miss that one? Okay, sorry about that, Lilac Dawn. I don't mind that they had to choose who did worse. What I don't like is that they made choosing who was better optional. I think
I agree. They should have made them.
In Queendom 1, you had to choose someone who was better. There was no option but to say no one was better, which is a cop-out. I think that the way it felt more balanced and friendlier, and there could be cute moments where they praise each other. While in this season, when most of them only chose the worst one, the atmosphere is more competitive and negative.
Agree.
It is, but I don't think it's overwhelmingly. It's not that bad, but it could be.
Fans don't feed into it. Don't be hateful.
Yeah, don't get into fan wars. Don't be that way.
Yeah.
User D, and this is the last comment. We'll go on from there. DTRNT101 101 says, I personally don't like it as it seems like an artless way to add potential drama. But I can understand why they do it, and I doubt any of the girls involved are actually offended by any of it since they've all been in the game long enough, have experience with shows like this enough to know what's up. As long as no one is singled out and given the brunt of evil editing, it's whatever.
Yeah.
I think the rival thing actually played out very sweetly, and I liked it in practice because it was a way for the different groups to pay respect to each other's strengths, excuse me, and attributes, while also having that reality show tension for the previews. The picking who did worse never lands for me because you can just feel the girls figuring out how not to get canceled. I agree with this, and when this person is saying I think it actually played out sweetly, I think so as well. But was that the intention? I don't think that was maybe the intention,
No.
and that you could see Hewlin and everybody else. Why are they happy? You picked them as a rival. It was a different thing. But again.
Good points, everyone.
Mnet is a bit stuck in a rut right now because they don't know this post-COVID. It's a weird time right now for K-pop, and I understand they're trying to grasp at straws a bit.
Oh, sorry. Please ignore that. I'm not going to edit it.
That's
sorry,
fine.
everybody.
Okay. We're only human.
And that's it for today's discussion. Please leave your personal ranking in the comments. We want to hear from you who you loved and for what reason. And we will be back here on my channel every Saturday.
And watch it next week.
To recap Queendom.
Yeah, and there's a couple other podcasts out there. I'll see if I'll put them on the post or something like that. There's 2 or 3. I've listened to them all. They're really good. Really
I try not to listen to anyone else's
before
until after
it's
we
hard.
have ours.
It's hard.
I don't want them to influence.
I don't want them to make a better point. I'm like, darn it, why didn't I think of that?
Okay, thanks everybody.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Leave a comment. Bye.
Bye. Good night.